All right, welcome to the latest episode of the Organic Fitness Podcast. I'm your host, Coleman Power, and in this episode, we'll be touching on the likes of goal setting because I'm a firm believer in people want to be healthier. And how do you do that? You make sure that you're doing the right things and you're going in the right direction. So, the first of which we're affected by our environment, our events of the past, our current knowledge, the results that we currently have as a result of what we've done, and then our views, our future, views on the future, and your dreams. And the last one is the most important. Why? Because we cannot change the past, but we can change the future. I'm a firm believer in it. And making sure that we know what we're wanting to do in the future is key. And that's why when I train people, it's one of the first things I ask them. I ask them, what do they want? Because you have to know what you want. Because if you do things at random, you're going to get a random result. That is so important. Okay. I want you to even think, I'm going to say it again. What you do on a regular basis affects your future outcomes. Okay. So if you've had a poor relationship in the past in relation to things that you can control, that being your foods, that being your thoughts, okay, and training on foods being a massive one, because you cannot outtrain a bad diet, and the foods affect the way your body works. It affects your cognitive function, how clear you're thinking, and that's why I always try nail down, specifically when I train people one to one, their foods. The body runs off three main things. It runs off proteins, it runs off carbohydrates, and it runs off fats. And depending on what sources you get them from and where you fit them in throughout the day is so key for you to have optimal health. And I want people to be the happiest. And I want people to be the healthiest they can, eating foods that benefit them. And everybody's diet is different. And that's important to note, because don't just eat foods because so such and such a person is eating such and such a diet and that works for them, because you're not the same as them. You mightn't be able to tolerate dairy. You mightn't be able to have a certain amount of soya in your diet. Okay, so I'll take the example of myself. I don't tolerate that much dairy. Okay, but if you are eating dairy, I highly recommend you to get it organic. Why? Because then you eliminate the likes of antibiotics that conventional farmers can use. Organic growers, organic farmers cannot use antibiotics on the animals. Okay, they do not use, organic growers, the likes of Roundup and glyphosate, which is the active ingredient in Roundup, which has been proven to cause cancer. That is so important. Okay? Whether it be on the grain that you're consuming, whether it be on the vegetables that you're eating on a regular basis, that I highly recommend. And that's why I always get people to focus in on getting it local, getting it fresh, getting it chemical free, getting it organic, because that's the gold standard. Because the more foods you eat that benefit you, the more energy levels you have. The more energy levels you have, the more productive you will be throughout the day. The more productive you will be throughout the day, the more you're going to get done. And as a result of that, it's going to knock on effect, not only in your fitness, not only in your energy levels, but also to the other people that you hang around with. And people want to hang around with people that have more energy and are more positive. And that's why the people that are listening to the show, okay, the listeners are growing, and I'm absolutely delighted for it. But I'm not going to stop here. I'm not going to stop now. I'm still doing what I'm currently doing, putting out as much information as I can in relation to foods, in relation to nutrition, in relation to organic vegetables. If you want to be more sustainable this year in 2020, we're going to nail down the likes of what you want to do and how you're going to do it. And you can either end up at an undesigned destination in the future or a designed one. And that's why we're talking about the likes of this goal setting. It's so important to make sure that you have goals, because goals are like magnets. They pull you towards whatever it is that you want, but you have to know what you want. You have to write it down. You have to be clear. And the more clear you are, the easier it is to do the things that will get you there. Step by step, we get ahead. And that is why I ask people, first thing when I start training them, what do you want? And without goals, it's easy to fall into the trap of just earn a living. And money doesn't ever make you happy. It's important that people focus in on their health, and people that are healthier, they're happier as a result of it. Okay, and that's why I focus in on the likes of your 10,000 steps. That's why I focus in on training 4 to 5 times a week, whether it be gym workouts, whether it be home based, added resistant weights, and progressing on whatever weight you're currently on, because you cannot continue to keep doing the same exercises at the same weight at the same tempo and expect a different result. You have to progress. You have to change it up. You have to get the body to be under a little more stress. Okay, and some stresses are beneficial, and training being one of them. I'm a major believer in it. You have to put yourself under a little bit of pressure. It's got to be difficult. It's got to be challenging. There's no point in, we'll call it, going through the motions. You really do need a little bit of a push, whether it be whenever you're listening to this podcast. It's going to be coming out in December, start of the new year. It's going to be the perfect time for you to start your fitness journey, going in the right direction, doing the things that benefit you. And I'm bringing people through the likes of the Christmas period, making sure that they're eating as best they can, for getting them a head start on the likes of 2020, everybody jumping on the bandwagon. Because some people say you should take it easy during the likes of December and enjoy Christmas. You can enjoy Christmas while still making healthy food choices. You can enjoy Christmas while still training, because it's a lifestyle. It's not just for 6 weeks or 9 weeks or 2 months or however many 90 days Joe Wicks. It's for life. You have to make it habitual. You have to build habits. You have to build routines. This is key. This is so important, because there's going to be weddings, there's going to be birthdays, there's going to be parties, there's going to be, you name it, coming up in 2020 and every other year. Because if you're not motivated to do it in December, how are you going to be motivated to do it in February or March or June or July or September? You name the month. The whole thing about it is you have to do it. And if you don't do it, you cannot gain the advantage of it. It's that simple. You need to find the foods that benefit you. You need to find foods that you can cook and have on a regular basis. The healthy alternatives that I have in last week's episode, okay? And making those choices over the ones that are, we'll call it, below optimal. If you want to switch up ice cream for yogurt, that's a simple, small thing, okay, that I recommend to people. Why? Because it's small incremental changes in your diet that will make the massive improvements over duration of your fitness journey. And when you're starting this journey, wherever it is, whenever you're listening to this podcast, whoever you are, whatever age you are, it's important to note that I want people to make it as social as they possibly can. Okay? When you train with, we call it a personal trainer, that's your training buddy. Whether you want to bring a family member on those walks, that's making it social. Whether you want to bring a significant other, that's making it social. Cook meals that you can have with your family, with your friends, with whoever wants to come along. Because if you're doing it on your own, it's a hell of a lot harder. It's a longer road. It's a lonely road. I want people to bring friends and family together. It makes it easier, and things that are easier are much more likely to be continued to be done over a long period. It's making things too difficult for people if you say, I can't have that, I won't eat that. What you want to do is have the alternatives, or else try make those family members to come with you and say, this is what I'm doing. I'd love if you would try this. Do you want to try some of this? And when you do that, it makes it more of a community. And that's what I'm trying to build. I'm trying to build a community of people who want to be healthier, who want to be fitter, who want to eat local, fresh, organic produce. Why? Because that is the gold standard. And we cannot talk about health without mentioning the word organic. It's something that we've lost touch with. We've lost touch with foods. We expect them for 49 cents, which is absolutely criminal. How can people be expected to grow something and sell it and make a profit for 49 cents and it's still being given benefit to yourself? It doesn't work like that. We don't have to go that far back in life, whether it be your mother or your father, whether it be your grandparents, that had a connection with the likes of the food and where it came from. They either had chickens in the backyard, they grew their own potatoes, they had greens, whether it be cabbage, whether it be kale, whatever it is, they had carrots, they had parsnips. These are all things that I recommend to people. Okay. And when you want to be healthier, you have to focus in on the foods. And that's why I am a firm believer in what foods you eat and how they can benefit you. And I talk about them each and every week, and specifically to that person that I speak to, whether it's a one-to-one, whether it's on this podcast, whether it's on Facebook, whether it's on Instagram that you follow me. And I'm also on TikTok as well. The information I put out there is to benefit people who want to be the best and the fittest version of themselves. Okay. And what we're going to do in this show is we're going to set goals, and I want people to get out a pen and get out a piece of paper if you are sitting down, or else go back to this show later on, or else take out your phone and write down and putting down goals in relation to the following headings. I want you to write down goals that you want to achieve in the next 1 to 10 years. Writing down things you want to see, places you want to live, family, if you want a family, relationship, improved relationship, or one that you currently want. If you want a job, if you want a better job, if you want to lose weight, if you want to gain muscle, if you want to build on your strength, if you want to buy a house, or you want to have a place that you want to rent on your own. Okay, you're writing them down along the page on the left-hand side, coming down from left all the way down. And I want you to make sure that you can put a number beside those, rating it in a number from 1 to 10. And the number symbolizing how many years you think it's going to take you to achieve that. Whether you put it's going to take you 1 year to achieve your fitness goal, whether it's going to take you 5 years to find and improve on the likes of your current home that you're in, whether it's going to take you a year or 2 years or 3 years to increase the amount of income that you have. Because when you do this clearly outlines whether, after you fill up all these boxes and fill up all those areas, whether you need more goals in the short term, whether you need more long-term goals. Because I'm a firm believer in having all these different goals so that you can come back to this piece of paper, you can come back to this piece of document that you're after writing down yourself. I didn't force you to do this. You wrote down those words, you wrote down those goals. Those are yours. No one can take those things away from you. But make sure that you know and have things always to look forward to, because you cannot change the past. You can change the future. Whatever you have right now is a result of what you've done in the past. I want people to walk forward, aim towards things that you want. That gives people a drive, that gives people a motivation. I get goosebumps on my hand when I talk about this, because I want people to be the healthiest version of themselves. I want them to strive. I want them to move in the right direction. There's no point in going backwards, because backwards doesn't help. I want people to do the things that benefit them. I want them to help themselves, because if you don't help yourself, right, you can't help other people. And I want you to be a role model for your family members, for your friends, for whoever you come into contact with. Because when you be healthier, when you become a healthier version of yourself, it comes out. You ooze it. People say you have a natural glow, and that comes down to what you're doing on a regular basis. Getting up that little bit earlier to fit in a workout, getting out at the weekends, clocking up 10,000 steps and making up for things that you missed out during the week, making sure you do your healthy shop. Why? Because you cannot eat foods that you do not have. You cannot gain advantage of something you do not eat, right? And in these goals, it's so important to make sure that you have financial goals, wealth. It's making sure that you have relationship goals, love, making sure that you have health and personal development goals, because your fitness is so important. Okay, because that can build motivation into other areas of your life. Because when you start to see your body change, and it will if you're training on a regular basis, and if you're doing the things that benefit you, such as balanced meals that I've always mentioned to people to have, complete proteins, complex carbohydrates, and healthy fats. Okay, the complete proteins being more plant-based because I have a preference towards it. Tofu, tempeh, lentils mixing with the likes of chickpeas. If you're eating the likes of fish, which I recommend you to eat if that's something that you can consume, white fish, more sustainable fish, which I also have a podcast episode on with James Barry, who's extremely knowledgeable in that area. Okay, as opposed to the farm fish, which is typically salmon. Okay, salmon is a beautiful fish to taste. However, if it's not wild and if it's not caught in open waters, it's farmed and it's going to cause negative effects not only to your health, but also it's not something we want to support. So as well as that, with the likes of fish, fish is so high in omega-3 healthy fats. Omega-3 healthy fats is something that can improve your cognitive function, improve your skin health. And as well as that, it helps you absorb fat-soluble vitamins and it's anti-inflammatory. That's why it improves the likes of your skin health and also improves on the likes of your recovery from your training. And that's why I recommend it in people's diet. If you don't get omega-3 healthy fats from the likes of fish, you can take a supplement, but I don't recommend supplements before I recommend other foods such as flax seeds and chia seeds. These are things you can add into your breakfast, and over and oats being a key one and a simple one to start off your 2020 healthiest version of you. These things are something that you can add into smoothies and all things that I have in my organic fitness program that I get people to consume on a regular basis. And then the carbohydrates. Complex carbohydrates is what I recommend. Why? Because that is what the body runs off. And eating these things on a regular basis, oats being a winner, whether it be in a smoothie, whether it be in your porridge in the winter months. The whole idea of it is having them and making sure that you enjoy those meals. Adding in cacao, which is also a healthy fat, which also contains antioxidants, which reduce oxidative stress. These are simple things we can add into our diet. And that being high in magnesium. Magnesium reduces cravings. Magnesium also reduces anxiety in people. And you wouldn't believe the difference in taking magnesium, either from cacao or having it from dark leafy greens. See, all these foods are connected. All these vitamins and minerals come from whole foods. And when you start to eat these foods, the change in your body is going to be amazing, because sleep is so important. Because I always harp on about people adding and bumping up their magnesium for sleep. Because if you're not sleeping well, it affects your hunger hormones and your hormones in your body. And when you're not sleeping well, you can't optimize the likes of your brain function. Okay, you can't optimize the likes of your training, and your productivity for the next day and the next couple of days is going to be below par. So you need to improve your diet, to improve your sleep, to improve your overall health, so that you can achieve the goals that you set out yourself. Okay, because if you want to be your best, you have to do your best, eating the best foods, eating organic foods, eating whole foods, and organic being the gold standard. That is my message. And if I get one more person to start being and choosing the right foods for them over Christmas, whenever you're listening to this podcast, because when you're healthier, you're happier. And that's so important. It's often asked, Coleman, how the hell are you so happy? How do you have so much energy? Is it the coffee you're drinking? Is it something that you're taking? Taking a drink of that. That's green tea that I'm drinking. But why? Because it's high in antioxidants and it has a hell of a lot less caffeine. It's not the caffeine that gives me the buzz. It's the natural buzz that I get from working towards things. I've got a goals board behind me here, and I have this up on YouTube as well for those of you who are on YouTube and have a preference towards watching a video of me recording this podcast. It's quite personal, and I don't expect anyone to share what they have in relation to what relationship goals they want, what financial goals they want, what fitness goals they want. But I want people to know themselves. I want them to have it written down, because when it's written down, it's clear, it's visual, and it goes from up here, up top, down in front of them, and then goes back up again. Okay, it's a cycle. I want you to go back to that piece of paper on a regular basis to see, are you doing the things that are benefiting you? Are you going in the right direction? Are you doing the right training? Are you seeing progress? Are you eating the right foods? Are you doing the things that you said you wanted to improve on? A better relationship, improved income. Are you upskilling? Are you increasing your knowledge? Because how do you do that? You read books, you listen to podcasts, you talk to people who have a little bit more knowledge in that area. go to conferences that are going to be happening again in 2021. Okay. And that's what I want people to do. I want people to improve and strive for improvements, not perfection, because you just have to be your best. You don't have to be the best, because I was never the best. I'll tell you, I was the smallest kid. I come from a family of three, and the fact is that I was the middleman. I have a younger brother who's bigger, he's stronger than me. I have an older sister who's more intelligent. She has so many different degrees. But the whole idea of it is, I found out through mentorship programs and reading and self-development books that you don't ever have to, and you shouldn't compare yourself to anybody else, because when you compare yourself, you take away the joy of what you have. And that's important to note. And I want people to stop comparing themselves to their brothers, their sisters, their other family members, their friends, their work colleagues, their partners, and just work on yourself. Be the best version you can of you. And that comes down to training and foods. And if there's anyone that trains with me or wants to send me a message in relation to their training or their fitness or their foods, or they want to be more sustainable and they want to do it long term, send me a message on Facebook, send me a message on Instagram, a DM. And if there's anyone who wants to train with me in the year 2020, 2021 even, the fact is I have spots available and I'm looking to help people. And that's what I do. I want people to ask and connect with the right people so that they can be and do the things that benefit them on a regular basis. And that's today's show in relation to goal setting. And that piece of paper and this podcast is something that I'll be going back to because it's key. It's not just for you, it's for everybody. When you know what you want, you've written down, all you have to do is go ahead and work towards it. All right. Thanks for listening to this latest episode of the Organic Fitness Podcast. As I said, if you want to contact me on Instagram, it's Coleman Power Organic Fitness. If you want to contact me on Facebook, it's Coleman Power. All right. And I'll get back to you as soon as I possibly can. And there isn't any one question you can ask me. I'm the most honest and open man there is. And happy Christmas. Happy New Year. And stay tuned, stay classy, and keep it organic.